Hi, this is Shannon Hennig from Inclusive Communication, and as I often do after speaking with families in school, sometimes I come home and try to jot down a few ideas about how to better communicate some of the key ideas that are in my head when I'm trying to work with students with difficulties speaking. So one of the key ideas I often talk about in my head, and sometimes don't get out as clearly as I'd like, is this idea of how do we teach a word. And we use words, so at the end, there should be some sort of result. That could be anything from I say, excuse me, and I get someone's eyes. I say something and it makes someone laugh. I do something and I get something. I say, push me, and my person, caregiver, mom, whoever, gives me a push on the swing. So it's really important, obviously, that our kids are learning that the word leads to a result, and that helps them shape what that word means. But that's not enough. First of all, there's a whole question of how. How do you use that word? And I literally mean, how does the word come out? Are you going to say it? Are you going to sign it? Are you going to say it in a language 2, language 3, language 4, if you're so multilingual? Are you going to spell it out? Are you going to type that on an iPad? Are you going to text it? There's lots of ways we can spell. Are you going to point to some sort of picture symbol? Or maybe exchange a picture symbol? Are you perhaps going to point to a symbol on a speech-generating device, and then the computer will say it to you? So there's all these different ways that we can say it. And then, of course, there's the context. And in each context, there are different people. So obviously, the way I would say excuse me with my boss on the telephone, when trying to get someone's attention, if I'm spelling and text messaging, the device will get their attention for me. The context will really depend on how this whole equation works. And for you to be a successful communicator and actually use any word, or if you are starting to combine words, use grammar and put words in order and know how they go together. For you to really be successful, that you need to see, experience people, do some identification of the context so that you can watch a video of, in this context, they conveyed this word or words by saying it, and this was the result. Or if you're going to try to sign it, you need to see someone sign it. Because obviously, if I say excuse me with speech, I need to make sure that they speak the same language. So if I'm speaking in English and they understand English, I can say excuse me, and then the result is they'll turn and hopefully give me their eyes. Now, if I'm trying to sign, you cannot sign to someone's back. You might have to stomp your feet. You might have to wave or get someone else's attention who's in front of them. So what you're demonstrating is a very different behavior. Fundamentally, if you're spelling, you can't really get someone's attention through spelling unless you send them a text message or something, because you have to have their attention already if they're going to see it. If you're going to point to pictures, again, you can't really get somebody's attention pointing to pictures unless you do something else. And then if you have a communication device, you need to make sure that the volume is up. And there's a lot of different tricks. And so if you haven't seen someone go through all these stages, it's really hard to know how to use what you can do to get a result. So that's just a reminder that when we're doing our language, our aided language simulation, it's not just about teaching words. We actually have to teach, in this context, how do we use the word and let them see the result. If kids don't see the result, they won't understand the whole thing. If they don't see it in their version of how they communicate, that makes it really hard. If they don't get to actually see words modeled, well, that makes it particularly challenging. And you have to see it in multiple contexts with different people so you really understand this linkage robustly. So thanks again. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at shannon@inclusive-communication.com or .co.nz if you're here in New Zealand, and happy to answer any questions. Have a great day. Bye.